Hello, welcome to Hazardous Opinions. I am Eric, there's Andy,
Hello.
and there's Hunter,
Hey guys.
special guest. And today we're doing Coraline. It's a movie that came out in 2009. It is a spooky-esque movie. It's a claymation drama. I mean, also a family movie, I guess. And yeah, we're kicking off spooky season with that.
Yeah, it's a good movie for October to kick it off with. Yeah, so Coraline, as you said, was released back in '09, directed by Henry Selick, uh, starring Dakota Fanning, Terry Hatcher, and John Hodgman as kind of our main cast family. You can watch this one on HBO Max is where I found it, but you can also find it on stuff like Prime Video and Hulu. The services are always rotating.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a good one for those of you that haven't seen Coraline in a little while. Though you should rewatch it again since it's spooky season. We have our main character Coraline Jones, who's voiced by Dakota Fanning, who moves with her parents to a new home in a different part of Oregon. One night, she's kind of awoken and led to a strange door that was previously a brick wall. She discovers a parallel world where things are kind of not as normal and more the opposite of normal. Things just get a little creepy from there. But I won't go too much into the synopsis. I kind of want to hear what you guys think about this one.
Yeah, I mean, I like this movie. I've like, I'm surprised I haven't seen it before because I'm usually into movies like this. But I mean, Courtney has seen it like a million times, and then she's like really excited to watch it. So we finally sat down and watched it last night, and yeah, I can like proudly say like this is like a really impressive movie. I'd probably rate it like an 8 out of 10, probably because like I mean I would score it higher if it like because like usually I'm not into like the whole like sing song musicals, but like this it's pretty limited in this, so that's where like I really like it.
Yeah, I
So
was surprised this was your first time watching this.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too, honestly. That's what everybody said.
What about you, Hunter?
Oh no, for sure, Eric. I'm so glad you checked it out for the first time. Honestly, it's this movie has a special place in my heart for sure. Just me being an imaginative kid, like when I was really young to, I mean, still now, still have that like little boy in me, about all these films and series, but like I could, as a kid, I would find creativity wherever I could. And like for this whole plot, I can just relate to Coraline trying to find that, creative fun around this new place she moved to. Like, yeah, as a kid, I would always just take my action figures and make a movie out of it. I would plan out the plot and everything. And like, especially this being a claymation animation movie, it just takes very particular skills and a lot of time with this claymation. And, like it would basically be like me taking my action figures and, kind of just doing those like really short second shots. And like, it takes so long and like a lot of skill. I think this movie took like 2.5 years or 3 years to make in
Oh
total.
man,
Yeah, like the art of it is just so impressive. And
it really is.
right, yeah. And compared to a lot of other animated movies and movies for kids, like this one is dark underneath the surface if you really like think about it as an adult and the themes, but like it can appeal to both adults and children. That's what I really love about this one.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, yeah,
Yeah, and this one had the fame of being the longest stop motion at the time as well,
right.
with about an hour 40 for the whole movie. which is,
Yeah.
I mean, kind of short for movies nowadays since we're getting into the definitely breaching the 3-4 hour territory. But
Oh,
it was really
definitely.
impressive back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for it being like a stop motion animation thing, like it just takes so much more time doing it. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you give this one, Hunter?
Oh man. I mean, since it's one of my favorites, like I recently just bought the 4K steelbook of it because
Oh
it
wow.
is considered one, like, probably the best 4K version of a movie. So I just had to, you know, and I would say, yeah, just 11 out of 10 if I could give it,
That's awesome.
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, like you were saying that you were getting into stop motion as you were a kid. Like did you have any like, completed products, or were you kind of like messing around with it kind of? Or is it something
Okay.
you wanted to do but didn't actually complete?
I should clarify that, like, I didn't use a camera or anything with these action figures. It was kind of just all
Oh,
made up in my head when I was left to my own devices, kind of like Coraline Jones in this movie.
oh, yep.
Like, yeah, no, I should have been more specific about that. But yeah, no, didn't do any projects as a kid or anything. I mean, I almost wish I did. I almost wish I had a really good camera, and I probably do have the patience to kind of do stuff like that because people are like just mind blown by the stop motion animation stuff. Like, how do you do that? You know, how do you?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
It seems like a daunting task when it comes to something like you want to do it, but it's like, well, I want to do it good, but you can't, know until you start doing it. And whether you make something good or bad, at least you did tried something. So I'd say it's never too late.
No, no, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And I was into drawing as a kid too, so I guess that kind of like goes in goes into animation, but yeah,
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 the artistic mindset.
yeah,
I'm kind of the same way.
dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's why I'm like really into like animations and all that stuff, because it's just it's always a good form of art to appreciate.
It is, and I don't agree with people around our age, and like when you hit 18 and you are considered an adult now. I don't appreciate when people do say like that that animated movie is childish, it's kiddish. I couldn't watch
Oh
it.
no.
No, like honestly, I think many animated movies that I've seen, like it is a place of comfort, and you can kind of transport yourself to being that little kid again, and have that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
glee and
Don't
joy.
let the kid in you die, bro.
No, exactly, exactly. And like this movie, Coraline, like it applies to both adults and children. Like it has a lot of good lessons in it, and yeah, you can just
Absolutely.
anybody can find anything in an animated movie that they enjoy. They don't have to enjoy it and be so passionate about the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
You get something out of it, no matter who you are.
pretty
Exactly.
much exactly what I was thinking as I was going through this. I think this is the first time I've seen it since I've been an adult.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and I was like, wow, there's actually a lot of stuff that I enjoy here, but I can also see, like, watching the movie from not Caroline,
Oh,
Coraline's point of view.
you're acting like
Yeah, you're
Crystal
doing the
Pinsky right
classic
now.
blunder, bro.
I'm the other Andy.
Not Caroline at all.
Coraline. I think I just heard Caroline so much it's ingrained in me now.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, for sure.
That when you're watching this from her point of view, that you can see so much of the childish wonder that you experience on a daily basis as a kid. Of, hey, I'm going to go count windows on the house. I'm going to go count things that are blue and just talk to random strangers, and
Mhm.
just the kind of things you go play in the mud that bring back those childhood memories. This movie is solidly in the high eights for me, probably like 8.7, 8.8. Like, if animation was my forte, I think this would easily be a high 9.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I'm not huge into animation, but this is probably the highest one out there for me. Coraline is spooky, it's well done, and it's just a great short narrative for what the story is.
I'll take it,
Yeah.
Andy. I'll take it. That's a good explanation. Yeah.
Hello, Coraline. Want to hear my new song? Making up a song about Coraline. She's a peach, she's a doll, she's a pal of mine. She's as cute as a button in the eyes of everyone who ever laid their eyes on Coraline.
Yeah, I really like how intelligently written this movie was, because I feel like it could relate to a lot of people. Like, if your parents are too busy working all the time, you kind of like fantasize about like, well, what if my parents were like more playful with me or whatever as I was a kid, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we can all relate to that to some degree. I mean, I know parenting is hard and we can't always make time to play with our kids, but
Definitely.
it's like I feel like we always had that point to where like the idealized parents, which I don't think anybody, it's like kind of unhuman to what we idealize them to be most of the time.
We're not perfect, right?
We're not perfect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, going into this fantasy world where she gets everything she wants and everything is her, to her liking. Like she has like the chandelier, like gives out smoothies,
Yes. Yeah.
So like, it's just very imaginative world, and it takes a turn to make like kind of like makes her like grow up a bit to like take a stand and like save her parents and stuff. But like, and then in the end, I don't know if we want to start talking about the end yet, but like, I was just wondering if like the end meant like, was it all in her head or not? It's like, who
Sure.
knows?
Sure. Yeah. No, it's a good open-ended question a little bit. I think they were kind of just teasing it a little bit with the cat, like, disappearing behind that sign. I think it was just a little like kind of wink, but I don't think it took place in her head, like all of it, honestly. But
Yeah.
like I was saying, how this movie connects with both like children and adults. Like you're mostly in Coraline's perspective, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like throughout the movie, and since you brought up the end here, like when she moves to Oregon, it's this cloudy, overcast area, and that is real life. Like it rains a lot over there, at
Yeah.
the West Coast. And it's kind of giving just that vibe that she has of being bored and it's just dull. And then she gets this whole other flip side of the coin here, in the other mother's world that she constructed for Coraline. And then, towards the end, when the whole facade is up, it, like there's hope in the area she's in reality. Like her parents were always these nice, caring people. She was just bored with them. And I mean, if you put yourself in the shoes of her parents, they just moved to this new place, like,
Oh yeah.
across the country from Michigan, and they're like working their butts off in this job, and they just, like you said, Eric, just don't have time for everything right away. Like they just moved into this house,
Yeah.
and Coraline's she's impatient. She's, just getting the jitters a little bit. And then like towards the end, you do see like that hope where her parents are like nice to her. Her mom bought her those gloves from the store that she liked. She thought of her. You get both perspectives, parents and Coraline alike. And that's why
Yeah.
I really love this story.
Yeah, definitely growing up more, I'm seeing the other side as well, and being around like younger kids as an adult, you're starting to see, oh, the mom's just trying to get her shopping done. It's back to school season.
Yes.
Like you get it, you see it in Walmart every year.
Yeah, right.
But now as you get older, you're starting to see, oh, like they're just trying to get their shopping done. They got other errands to get to, and the kids just trying to throw them everything they can in the cart. And but
Yeah.
you do
can't
get
say
that.
yes to everything or else you go broke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you do get that the happier view from Coraline at the end when she gets the gloves. But it's nice to see that from Coraline's perspective.
Yeah,
rather than just a parental perspective of seeing the kid being like seen as a brat or something like that. Um,
exactly. Yeah,
just they're trying to be wondrous, and yeah, I
yeah,
liked how they took the view with this.
right. And yeah, Coraline starts putting her energy back. You know, she gives her energy back to her parents, and she's trying to make this new place a home. Finally, you know.
Yeah. I'm glad you explained the like different perspectives there, because like yeah, there's like you start to understand both perspectives in like a realistic sense. It's like like you said, like they're just trying to get their school shopping done. They're trying to get all their work done while they're moving in because they got to get this garden started and all that stuff. So they're just stressed out. And like as a kid, like when your parents are stressed out, you just think of them as mean, you know what I mean? But really, like they're just trying to do their thing and they don't want to be interrupted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
yeah, especially when the dad turns around, he's like, "Can you just go count all the things that are blue? I just need to
yeah,
finish this with some peace and quiet."
yeah. And then he gets extra work to do once Coraline accidentally shuts off
shuts
the
off the power.
computer. No.
Yeah, I can't, like I don't know if it's just like an older computer where he doesn't have the ability to save while he's writing, or maybe he just forgot to save or something. But like
Right.
I don't know, it just seemed like everything he did as he got there just was gone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned if this is all in her head. It's not actually something that came to my mind while watching through this. I think it's mainly due to Coraline being so excited to tell the grandmother what happened to her twin sister at the end, that I didn't even consider this not like being real.
Yeah, like
But
how would she have that information, if it was in
yep,
her head?
the cat thing is interesting. It almost gave me like Alice in Wonderland vibes at the end there.
No, like Cheshire
Little
Cat.
Cheshire cat, yeah,
Yeah,
disappearing.
yeah. No, you know it. And also, like Andy, when you were mentioning everybody that is in this movie for voice acting,
Yeah,
oh man, I think everybody really knocked out of the park. Like, and it's crazy to me that Ian McShane plays Mr. Bobinski,
yep,
with that accent. He does so well with it. And it's a memorable character, even though you don't get the real Bobinski like too much.
yeah.
And
Oh my god, how did I forget? Fucking Keith David's in this.
yes, as the cat. And like, yeah, all of his lines are spot on. Like they're eerie and they make us, kind of just dive deeper into it. It's like, oh, okay, what does he mean there? And you don't get the answers right away. That's what keeps you going throughout the plot, really.
Yeah,
And also like Terry Hatcher playing the voice of regular mom and the other mom. Honestly, every time I watch this movie, I'm so ready for her voice to come up as the other mother in the first scene she's in, because like I just think that's a very like nice, kind of just a
Like a
very
blend.
nice motherly voice, and like the voices are distinct enough from each other, from the real mom and the other mother. Like it's just so nice. It kind of lulls you, like Coraline would be lulled a little bit and enchanted.
I have a question about like what was the the I'm gonna call her the witch. I don't know what her actual name is, but
Bel-
like
Beldam is
Beldam.
the type of witch she is. But yeah, no, you're
okay,
right there, Eric, with
yeah.
being a witch. Yep.
So the witch's intention was to keep Coraline there forever because she wanted a daughter to love or something.
Yeah.
And
She just wanted to eat her, from what the cat said.
So
so
Kat said both things, which is why I really love his lines and the writing in this movie. He said basically like she wants something or someone to love other than herself, I think. And then he said, or just wants to like basically consume you. That's not the exact thing he said, but yeah, I think it's kind of both. Like she's lonely and it's kind of like a witch that just really wants to be a mother and like give all these things to the kid in this facade. And then also, like, at the end, for her to live, she has to consume their souls, basically, and that's why the kids were those children that were still in this world, that were kept there. So she still has them after she consumes them, if that makes any sense.
Kinda. So, like, I wonder if it's any relation to that euphemism of like, I love you so much I could eat you.
Yes,
thing.
basically. Yeah. No, Eric, I haven't even thought of that. That's very good.
Yeah. So maybe it has some relation to that. And then, so keeping her parents like abducted away from her to like trap her, like, so the whole point of that was like to make a game out of it that she would lose, because like she basically has to agree to it somehow. Maybe that's the only like way like her thing could work. I don't know.
Yeah, I always just look at it like a 2-for-1, basically. Like, doing that game and keeping them going, and kind of sucking them in so that they do the buttons into their eyes, and she can have their souls, basically. And also with the buttons in the eyes, like, that phrase, the eyes are the window to the soul. Like, that's exactly why they use buttons, and like, I read all about that because I was just so fascinated with that. Like, why are there buttons being focused on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does make sense. Yeah. So the eyes are like representations of the soul. That's why she had to like go back and find their eyes, which are like represented by various objects.
Yep.
Because that represents their souls.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. I didn't even.
Yeah. I'm surprised they put that much thought into this.
Oh, I know. And I mean, it does help that Coraline is based off of a book written by Neil Gaiman. And Henry Selick
on this one as well.
Yeah. Henry Selick likes to translate Neil Gaiman's work into his movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one cool thing from this movie, is learning beldam as a word, meaning like old hag or like malicious witch.
Right.
I've never heard that word before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, when she first changed, I'm like, of course it's a hag, because it's like, it's always like a witch portraying to be someone nice, and then showing her true form once the jig is up.
Yep.
Right? But that is a classic thing. But it's always good to see.
Definitely.
Have either of you guys played Two Brothers?
No,
or it's called Brothers:
A
Tale of Two Sons.
I have not.
Okay, I won't spoil it. It just had a similar thing to this movie that I really liked. For those of you that have played the game out there, I don't know why it had to be a spider at the end. I don't like that.
Oh wait, the movie Brothers? I've seen that.
No, it's a game. Brothers is a game.
It's a game too?
No, I'm referring to the game.
Eric, I know what movie you're talking about.
You know what movie I'm talking about?
Yes, I don't think it has anything to do with what Andy is talking.
No, I'm referring to an old indie game.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Why'd the hag have to be a spider? I hated that.
I know.
It creeps me out so much.
Though, like, it is kind of symbolism with the beldam basically spinning her web and like constructing it for Coraline to be trapped in it. Like, it is kind of, like that's how I think of it, basically.
So she's heavily in relation to a spider in a sense of how she catches her prey. I think that's
exactly
what it is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. No, definitely. Yeah.
Because, I mean, I guess that's how spiders do. I mean, they kind of lure them in with webs and stuff, and then once they're caught, they go in and trap them. And
definitely. Though this movie is creepy all the way through, I don't think anyone creeps me out more than Mr. Bobinski.
Oh man, yeah.
I don't know what it is about him. He just gives me like creepy vibes. Like, Ugh, I don't like it.
It's his proportions.
Yeah.
That's what creeped me out.
And-
He just looks gross. And he's like doing all these acrobatics. But if he's like doing all of that, you'd think he'd have more muscle. But
Isn't
it's
it
just sticks.
Isn't it funny how with Mr. Bobinski and him mentioning the mice that you never see the actual like real world mice, but you see them in the other world? And like he mentions those creepy lines to Coraline, like the mice told me to tell you like don't go through that door. How would he
Ew.
know that if it actually wasn't real and he was training those mice? You know what I'm saying?
Did they? I thought we seen one
That
scene
is-
with the mice where they were eating the cheese that she left out for them.
Those were the mice
Those
that were, I mean, they were
otherworld mice?
camouflaged as mice. They were actually rats, and they had the buttons on their eyes for sure. So they were from the
Okay.
other world.
Yeah, I didn't recognize that. I thought they were almost like was it lemmings or something like that? Like it didn't look like a mouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had absurdly long tails.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I agree.
I call them monkey mice.
Monkey mice. Oh, and when I did say like how dark this movie actually is, when you really look at the undertones, it like I always think of that scene where you know how the other YB was starting to wither away when he showed his hand and he blew it away in front of Coraline,
Yeah.
and the other mother ended up stringing him to the pole above Bobinski's apartment or townhouse or
Well,
whatever it is.
That was
And,
just
like,
his clothes, though. We didn't know what actually happened to him.
I think she strung him up and he just withered away in the wind because the wind was flapping his clothes, you know?
Oh,
So, like, that's why I think it's so dark. She just, yeah, like, I think she took him, strung him up there,
Huh.
and he just withered away up there.
Interesting. Are those? Do you think those are other souls as well that are just body formed?
Good question. I have thought about that. Like, if she's taken, like, you know, just regular rats and taking their souls away because it's so easy to just, you know, like instead of a kid that has their own mind and can like, you know, do stuff like taking an animal from the real world and using them. I don't know. I almost want to say she just made up what she could from her magic because like YB being that kind of dust stuff underneath and the other father also like being made out of a pumpkin. I think she just took things that she could and made them animated.
Oh, is that what he was? I was wondering why he was getting bigger instead
Yes,
of
yeah,
withering
actually,
away.
like when you rewatch this movie, like why I think it's so rewatchable is you kind of catch new things every time almost and understand it deeper. Where like the other mother said, "Hey, can you go fetch your father? I bet he's as hungry as a pumpkin by now." There's
Oh.
little lines like that where it kind of foreshadows what's going to happen, and it's very creepy in that sense too. You know.
Squish squash.
Yeah. Squish squash.
yeah. So, like, was the father like? Why did he turn into a pumpkin?
I want to say she just. I don't.
I think you're saying that he was always a pumpkin, right?
He was
And then she
always
gave him
yeah.
life?
He's made out of a pumpkin basically, and just animated
Oh,
through that. You know.
he was just kind of reshaped into what her father. Okay,
Exactly.
Yeah. Magic
Using magic
is
I'm
crazy.
Sure she could do that. You know. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. There, you can get very imaginative with however it goes down. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't looked too much into the lore of this movie or read the other book or the book of this. Is YB explained more of like
Why-
is he hated by his family? Like why'd they name him that?
YB is actually not in the book. He was made up for this movie.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, he wasn't a character in the book at all. And actually, I enjoy that he's in this movie because, you know, it's not like, oh, Coraline is totally solo and like doesn't have any friends or anything. She's like, you know, with the whole realizing the other world is not what it's made out to be. and the whole facade comes down, and her at the end realizing that all this stuff in the real world is actually worth being around, and that like Oregon can be a beautiful place, like especially when the other mother's hand comes out at the end. At night there's beautiful cherry blossoms, like cherry blossom trees.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, like you're kind of in Coraline's perspective there, where she's like, "Oh, this place isn't so bad."
yeah.
Once I realize everything that I wanted isn't actually what I wanted. But yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Him having his head canted throughout this movie just made me consciously have to correct my posture as I was watching this.
Oh man, his neck will be out of place forever.
Yeah. Same with her dad too.
Oh yeah, staring at the computer that way. Oh man, no wonder why he has that posture already.
I mean, when we first saw him, when he was sitting there writing, all I could stare at was his neck, because he was like hunched over and his neck stuck out so far in front of his body. Like, what? I was just more intrigued by it. It's like, wow.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody's got very weird proportions, especially Miss Spink and Forcible.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
yeah. That kind of grossed me out, especially when they did that whole play acting,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she's just naked. I'm like, oh no, stop it.
I know,
Just a
even
little
Coraline
pasties on.
says, what we're thinking. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think it definitely is ridiculous on purpose like that, Not a weird thing to have, but
Yeah.
were they actually psychics though? Because there was actually things that she acquired that, or I guess either knowledge or equipment that she acquired from them that actually helped her in the other world
good
in
question.
different ways.
Like the basically it was kind of a MacGuffin in the movie with that
Yeah.
seeing thing, right? That they gave her. Yeah, that like triangle.
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I don't know if they were actually psychic, because they seemed full of themselves and they thought they could
They
do
did.
so much, right? And they weren't in their prime anymore and they're trying to hold on to it, right? But I think it was kind of that to show that, like, in real life, there are helpful people, and she wasn't alone the whole time. They, like the cat, Mr. Bobinski, and Miss Forcible and Sphinx, like, they were there to help her, and they were all pretty much warning her to not go to that other world.
So I guess that implies that the other world was always there because of Wybe's
Grandma's
grandma's sister
Yep.
probably warned him about her, and that's why he wasn't allowed in the house. And
Exactly.
I'm assuming word travels around from there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the grandma had like knowledge of the witch, but she had knowledge that her sister went missing in that house. So she's like, that's dangerous. Stay away, basically. I want to
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to like know a little bit of backstory on that. Maybe there'll be like a prequel or something in the future at some point.
I would love
We
any
can always
addition to this story.
speculate, but yeah.
No, definitely. There's been talk about live action and stuff. I don't know with the Disney movies, and their live action success. I don't know if I want it. There's got to be like.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I mean,
Yeah.
Disney likes to change things up a lot from the source.
No, definitely.
The only problem with the prequel is you kind of run into that Rogue One issue where you're watching the whole movie knowing everyone dies type of thing.
Oh, fair.
Because
I
you're going to know.
I actually didn't expect everyone to die, because the whole thing was they were supposed to get the plans. I mean, we knew they were going to fail in getting the plans. Or actually, they did get the plans.
He did. Yep.
Yeah. They just, I think, they blew the whole thing up. Anyways, to not get into Rogue One spoilers too much, I think they could do a sequel to this movie because I was just waiting since it's been so long. I couldn't remember if there was a hint. I was really just waiting for the hand to crawl back up the well or something like that at the
Sure.
end. Some sort of hint that she might not be fully defeated. So I
Definitely.
think they could totally figure out a way to
Once
push
like
a sequel to this.
once like Coraline's family moves out of that house, and then another family comes in unaware. No, I get you there.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I could definitely see this being a live action. I do think they had plans for that originally, and
mhm.
then it ended up being animation instead, which better for it. I think it had more success than it would have done live action.
Right. I wonder if going back to your question about sequel, like I do wonder if the other mother is actually gone. And I do love that line with the writing. I love in general. I love that line where Coraline's escaping through the tunnel, and she said like don't go, I'll die without you. You know, like so. I wonder if she ended up withering away because she had no access to consuming a soul, what she needed to live.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't show us a body. We just see the hand get crushed. So
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And also, it's very interesting with the whole doll thing. I thought it was a really cool and creative way of the witch spying on each kid and the kids not knowing it. It's like such a innocent doll, like, oh, I can play with this. It looks like me. This is so cool. But at the same time, yeah, it's the witch being able to spy on them and like figure out more of the individual and what their lives are like and how she can play it up better, right?
I did like that. I think that is one of my favorite things, along with as I watched through this movie, trying to point out everything to myself that
Hmm.
was the exact um, opposite from her world, like the bunny slippers being orange instead of blue, and just different things like the dad being a good singer or being able to write songs, and just everything being the exact opposite of what Coraline was experiencing in her life that she didn't like, or even things that just to make it alternate, that like the slippers.
Right, right. Yeah. And I do love that, the whole intro to the movie was the Beldam like making her doll, and just kind of setting us up for that.
Yeah, and very good intro as well that brings you right into the mood that this movie's going to bring.
Exactly. Yeah. The creepiness already. Yeah.
One thing I have about the doll is Wybie gave her that doll because he found it in his grandma's trunk. And if he wasn't allowed. Oh, yeah, okay. So this must be like a whole witch thing because did Wybie actually know that he gave her the doll? He did, didn't he?
Yes. Yep.
So if anything, he'd have to know about something because if he found it in her grandma's trunk, either the doll just spawned in there and he found it and was just like because he wasn't allowed in the house in the first place. So
Right.
what was he doing in there?
I do think that like, at the end of the intro to the movie where she kind of sends it out that window, it is kind of just placing it probably wherever the last doll was. I'm guessing his grandma's parents didn't really figure out anything about the doll like Coraline did. They didn't get there. So like they left
Oh,
the doll for safekeeping and basically she altered it. And then YB would not know, oh, this doll does something and this is why my, basically great aunt disappeared.
yeah.
He's a kid and he's just like, oh, it looks like Coraline, like I will give her a nice gift, basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's the route they took. But
Yeah, and all in all, it's very cryptic in some of its meaning. It's food for thought for most of it. I mean, I guess for most of it, for some of it, and like you said, the more you watch it, there's more to expose just from the story. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it could be the animation style why this movie keeps giving me video game vibes.
Hmm.
Have either of you guys played Bioshock, the first one?
I have
No.
not.
Okay. No
Sorry.
spoilers, but like the general feeling of like the first few levels of that game is like for me almost parallel to when she went in and started doing the quest in the other world as the game with the other mother, and like finding the eyes and going to these different areas, and just the kind of vibe that each of those gave me was like doing quests in Bioshock. And it's just like the creep factor of knowing that you're walking into somewhere where there's probably a psycho that's waiting to try and kill you with
Right.
each one. You just gotta get your thing and get out of there.
No.
Yeah, it does give you like video game vibes in that aspect because it's the
Get the old
classic
rule of
like
three.
go to this place, deal with whoever's protecting it, and then grab your thing, and then go on to the next one, do the same thing until you get all of them, and then return back to where you were sent from.
Yep, always three.
Yep, always three. Rule of three.
No, definitely. Good number. Yeah. The just trio, triad, anything. Yeah. I get that for sure. I think that was definitely a good addition for her to have to do that and kind of play into the other mother's wishes and interests where she's like, hey, you want to play a game? Like, she had to do something to be able to get out of her clutches, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, just very, very smart thinking by Coraline. And, like, I really enjoy that this whole story basically, like, it was a lot of character development for the character that we followed the whole time. It wasn't just, oh, that was scary, okay, just move on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, like, like I said, she realized that Oregon can be a home, and that, like, her parents aren't treating her the way she really thinks, and she's just super bored. And us as parents, or I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but you know, it, it's going to be hard to completely fill that, for our kids,
Yeah. Yeah, and that goes back to like where I was saying like it's kind of unrealistic standards of
Exactly.
what we want from our parents most of the time. So,
Right. No, definitely. Oh yeah. And going back to the live action thing, thankfully this isn't Disney and that Disney cannot mess with it. It's Leica. Did you guys know that Leica is headed by Travis Knight, the son of Phil Knight, which is the guy head of Nike?
Oh,
He gave Travis Knight animation studio, like, just here you go, because Travis Knight was so into animation, and everybody was kind of freaked out by that, like, oh, this rich kid of this rich dad is just gaining a studio real quick. What is he gonna do with this? Like,
yeah.
but no, like, obviously with bringing on Henry Selick, like, you already are selecting the right people, and
Right.
this was such a success, I would say. And Travis Knight actually ended up directing one of Leica's movies himself, so it's showing his talent not from behind the scenes, but like actually stepping into that role. He did Cubo and the Three Strings, I want to say.
10?
Oh, is it 10 Strings?
I think it was 10.
There we go. Yeah, I just watched that movie like maybe a couple months ago for the first time. But oh man, just like definitely is like Coraline style. Thank goodness, because I love it. The style of stop motion animation, and that was such an amazing movie, I thought too. Just
Correction,
impressive. Yeah.
I was off. Sorry, it's 2 strings.
Oh, it's two. We were both off, Andy.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, I never watched that one. It looked good. It's just not one of those ones I ever ended up seeing.
Well, now that I've seen it, I would give you guys that recommendation after this one. And you might enjoy it a little bit, maybe even more if, Eric, I think you're into anime, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Andy, are you?
Yeah, I watched a few.
Okay. Yeah, I think it does have some anime roots with Japanese culture and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think you guys would really enjoy it if you enjoyed this one.
Interesting.
And
Well,
anybody
2016.
listening. Yeah.
It's recent.
You know that movie 9?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was actually going to be my like double feature recommendation for this one.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was just intrigued that came out. Who's actually it was
In the
either
same
inspired
year.
by Tim Burton or I don't think he has any involvement in it other than
I'll look it
whatever he
up. I
wrote.
want to say he maybe did have like at least a little involvement. If I'm wrong, like more involvement. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
he
I did
produced
check
it.
it out. Okay, he did.
Yeah. But he
Oh,
had like different writers and directors and stuff, so he was pretty much hands off other than producing it.
oh, definitely. Okay.
So
And
yeah, that was the movie that came out in 2009 that we thought that was like his movie, but it's actually not.
sure, sure. And I mean, there is a lot of that. My wife just asked me the other night, like, okay, so why is Tim Burton putting his name on all these things and stuff?
Right.
And, I mean,
It's
right
just
away.
like Tom Clancy gets you that money.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Right.
And right away, I kind of took offense to it because I love Tim Burton to death. And, you know, even though Coraline and I mean, even The Nightmare Before Christmas, he didn't direct it or like follow through with it, but it was his baby. And if you look at his college stuff with like drawings and such, you can see his style like come through in The Nightmare Before Christmas. Henry Selick kind of
Oh,
has
absolutely.
Henry Selick is close to his style, but also no, he has his own style with like Coraline and Wendell and Wild is also like on Netflix. That one I
Yeah.
love too. You know, it does have its problems and it's not as perfect as Coraline, I would say, but like
Like this
yeah,
one, I could see the direct relation in the director with James and the Giant Peach.
there we go. Yep, Henry Selick.
Coraline
Yeah.
and that are pretty close to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense that those are the same director.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like Tim Burton, you know, it's not him being like an egotistic maniac just posting his name on this stuff. It's, you know, he is helping people out by putting his name on it. You
It's like an
know,
endorsement.
exactly, exactly. And like, you know, he does have involvement. And in his own right, the movies he has directed, like Edward Scissorhands and Frankenweenie, and I mean, those are just a couple off my head, but
Yeah.
like, and Beetlejuice, like he is a master in his own right. You know,
Mhm.
like, it's not like, oh, he's just putting his name on these. He's really not that talented. No, not at all. You know,
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up 9. I was actually going to recommend that as the, like, if you want more of Coraline, that's the one that pops into my head. Like,
I haven't
there's a
seen it
lot
in
of
so long.
movies I could see being related to this in the theme. But 9 is one of those movies that, from what I remember, I haven't seen it since I was a kid. Then, like, oh, from the kid's point of view, everything was dark and dreary. Kind of like just the adventure, everything like that. In my kid memory of both Coraline and 9, that these two movies were kind of correlated.
Right.
Both came out in the same year. Same producer. Focus was worked on both those.
The style of writing was trending back then.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of depressing movies in the late 2010s or 2000s.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely want to. Now that you guys bring it up, I want to. Yeah, I want to watch 9 now. Yeah, I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, I haven't seen it forever either. Definitely gotta give it a rewatch.
Yeah.
That one might also be stop motion. I can't recall.
It's not. It's
No.
it's just animation,
Yes.
like
Just
CGI
animation.
stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, like, you could compare like a tale like Coraline to Grim Tales. like, Red Riding Hood and
Oh, yep.
Hansel and Gretel, those, but more grim, the creepier stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, the original German tales.
Exactly. Yeah.
Before they
But
were
this,
Disneyfied and brought to mass appeal.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Popularizing it. Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of
Or
dressed up more.
gentrified.
Yeah. Dressed up more to be so happy,
Yeah. Awesome. Do you guys have anything else on Coraline?
That's pretty much all I got. You got anything, Hunter?
We've covered a lot on it, and like you guys said, it is a shorter movie, so
Yeah.
like we don't have 3 hours to pick upon,
Yeah, no, it'd be way
Yeah.
different if that was the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it's a good amount of time for what needed to be said. There was a whole it didn't seem like, for it being a shorter movie, it didn't seem like the whole story was rushed at all. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot of exposition going on.
No, it was perfect. And kind of like I mentioned, rewatching this movie over and over again, like I have, those little lines in the creepy lines from especially the cat and, the other mother, like the plot doesn't let you on to everything that's going on in
No.
a good pace too. Like it just gives you little hint after little hint, and the whole curtain drops on everything like very well. I loved what they did, and especially like Coraline going into that room with the door. And did you guys notice that little painting with the kid with the ice cream? How in the real world it was a sad thing where he dropped his ice cream on the ground, and in the other world, like just dress it up happy, and he has the ice cream still on the cone and licking it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just those like little details. But like I love when Coraline enters the room and all those colors. This movie is so colorful. I love it, especially with this 4K version that I have, and I have those Philips Hue lights behind my TV.
Me too.
Strip. You do, Eric? Oh man,
I do.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it is. Like, that's why, like it was funny you say that, because I just got those like a week ago, and before even like the podcast or anything, Courtney didn't even know. He's like, "We got to watch Coraline with these lights,"
Yes.
and I'm like, "Actually, I got to watch that anyway." So,
my gosh. Okay, so like it just works out. That's actually weird.
yeah,
That like. Funny how it works.
Yeah, so like with the lights, it was just awesome.
The sink,
to see
right?
all that.
Yeah, the sink lights.
Yep.
That's something I'll have to look into when I get home.
Absolutely.
Yes, that has to go into your home theater setup wherever you have it. You don't have to have an amazing actual home theater, but it really adds to it, honestly. And just throughout the day, I will put those lights on something. I just like having them. They're very bright. And I also have Hue light bulbs in lamps, like 2 lamps next to the TV, like one on each side. And those add sink lights too. And then our kitchen island, I put Hue light bulbs in those too.
So you got the whole house synced up to the TV?
Yeah, the whole apartment is just lit up.
That is awesome.
Oh man,
I love that.
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, one comment I do have before we close out here. I didn't realize watching through this again how early in the movie all the chaos goes down.
Yes.
Like I think I flicked my thing to see where I was at, and it was almost like exactly at the halfway mark of when she goes back and the jig is up.
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to do this final act with 48 minutes still?
Right. And it built it up nicely.
Really good, and it doesn't feel rushed or lengthy. Like this is a perfect runtime for this movie.
Definitely. But yeah, perfect pacing, like I said. Like even just adapting it from the book, I mean, it must have been a little bit of a challenge to just like any book to movie, to translate it to the screen. And the writing was just so well done. I haven't read the book, but I just, I can't imagine how maybe a little difficult it was to do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like there is a common problem with book adaptations to movies, to where they like to have all the exposition like for the first like 80% of the movie, and then the last 20% is everything coming down, and then it gets all wrapped up. But like, yeah, with this, like you said, it was at right at the halfway point to where the actually like adventure, the I guess the quest gets involved and what she has to do. And yeah, it's really good.
Right. The writing on the script has a lot to do with that, not like you were saying, a bunch of exposition. Like, I've seen plenty of movies where they will give a character so much exposition, but like
Oh yeah.
this exposition was laid out through a couple different characters, which I really appreciated.
Yeah. And the fact that you say that Wyland or YB
Yep. Wyborn.
Wyborn. Yeah, the fact that you say that Wyborn wasn't even in the book, he's
Yeah.
used just for this movie, it just shows that it was a creative like take on the book instead of just trying to adapt it as close as they can, you know.
Right. I'm sure it was easier to write the book like just through the perspective of Coraline, but with the movie, I think it definitely benefited the translating it to film and on the screen with adding that character for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what have you guys been watching lately? Anything good?
Eric, you go ahead.
Let's see. What have I watched? Hold on. I might need a minute.
No, you're good. You're good.
I have
Yeah.
terrible memory. I have to search through my memory for a minute.
Oh, do it.
He's doing that. I want to tell you guys about one that surprised me lately.
Okay, I'm ready, Andy.
Directed by, you might know this one already. Directed by Olivia Wilde in only her second directorial debut.
Oh,
Don't worry, darling.
Okay.
It's got Florence Pugh as the main character, and Harry Styles is the supporting actor. And it's got a whole bunch of other people, like Olivia Wilde herself stars in it, and you got Nick Kroll and Chris Pine.
Oh yeah.
On supporting roles. This movie shocked me. So
what'd you think?
Seen on Netflix for a while. I've heard mixed things about it. I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a watch. It looks like the perfect thing for my mood today. And I knew it had it's got like a 6-star rating on IMDb. So I'm like, okay, maybe it'll be just a good background movie.
Okay.
I did not do any cleaning because I got so hooked into this movie.
You were sucked in, huh?
Like, this one was good, and I highly recommend it. It is not what it looks like on the outset.
Mm-mm.
It is, I'd say, a suspenseful thriller drama.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
You've seen this one?
I have. No, I'm gonna let you keep talking. Don't worry.
Yeah. This, I loved it. I don't think I've seen Styles acting other than his one cameo in
Dunkirk,
Eternals or whatever it was. Oh yeah, and Dunkirk. I forgot he's in that. He did really good in this. I was impressed, and Florence Pugh, of course, is kind of the main reason I picked this movie even to watch, because she's just been on a roll with good movies.
For sure.
But yeah, this one's a high recommend for me. It's on Netflix streaming right now. Recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, interesting.
Don't worry, darling.
I like your thoughts. Okay.
It'll all be okay.
It came out last year. It took some turns I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Wait, you watched it too, Eric?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I seen it like back when it first came out. That's why I'm like, have I seen that? I was like, as you were explaining it, I'm like, oh yeah, Harry Styles and what's her
Florence
name?
Pugh. Yeah.
Florence Pugh. Yeah.
Yeah, we covered Midsummer.
Yeah, I listened
a couple episodes back.
Yep.
And I was like, this girl's just on fire. Like everything I see her in, crushing it. Like Black Widow, like Hawkeye, she's just stand out, and so I just had to watch this.
It's really encouraging how good she is, and like an actress that we're gonna have around for a long time.
Yeah, she's young. I think she's our age.
I think so. And I do agree with a lot of your guys' thoughts on it. Honestly, like, all the ideas that it had, I don't think it executed every single one very well or like fully, but I did really enjoy the idea of it, and the acting performances really helped. I was just telling a coworker that just watched it last night. It's just kind of funny that you guys are bringing it up now. But yeah, a coworker of mine, he texted me and he said that he watched it, and I knew he watched Black Mirror too. And do you guys watch Black Mirror?
Oh,
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely
perfect.
do.
I think I heard you guys on a pod talk about it a little bit,
Yeah.
but I can compare it to one exact episode of Black Mirror, Beyond the Sea, in the new season here.
Yes, it even has
Yes, it's exactly
some of the same soundtracks in
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah, and around, kind of the same time period, and just kind of transporting, right?
Oh,
futuristic, but mimicking the 50s lifestyle. And
Right.
Yeah.
I thought Beyond the Sea was a much better and more perfect example of it, I would say.
yes, I would definitely put Beyond the Sea way above this.
Thank you.
But,
okay. All right. I'm glad I'm not alone.
I agree with that.
For sure. No. And I'm sorry to keep talking here. I know you guys asked, like, what we've been watching. Wait, Eric, have you thought?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
we recently started getting into the Conjuring series, and
all right.
because my mom told me to watch them in order. She's like, Google what to watch in order, because oh, this is cool. I get to see something in chronological order that came out in different times, but like the same story. Like, this is gonna be great.
It's turning into a Marvel universe.
Yeah. So we started with The Nun, and then we watched. Was it Annabelle?
Annabelle, yeah, I think those come.
Yeah,
next.
Annabelle Creation last weekend.
So
we're getting through it. So I mean, we're only 2 movies in, but I'm excited to see the rest of them. But from what I've seen so far, it's just one gripe I do have about them is their sound design is just insane, because they're whispering pretty much throughout the whole movie. I'm like, what are they saying? And then I turned it up, and then they like to do this really, really loud music during the scary parts. And then it's more of like, I'm in an apartment, I have to turn this down.
Oh man, yeah, especially when there's a Sonos soundbar, like it's the bass.
Yeah,
I can't turn it.
Yeah,
low.
the bass and everything, all the really loud sounds. It's scary, it's spooky, but holy shit, you don't need to blow my eardrums out.
Yeah,
but I guess that's a part of the experience, right? So I mean, I can't blame them for wanting to do something like that. I just wish it was more balanced in terms of the talking, between the talking and the scary parts.
I know.
I'm glad you brought that one up, because The Nun 2 is upcoming to release here soon.
Actually, it's released. It's in theaters right now. I think it's the
that's right.
3rd week already. Yeah, my buddies and I went.
Every preview ad I've seen of it has that same exact thing. They were whispering, and you're trying to listen in, okay, what are they talking about? And then you get the jump scare, and all of a sudden, whole theater's fucking loud.
Yeah.
Your ears are ringing, and you're jump scared just because of the noise.
Exactly.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah.
That's a good series. That one's close to my heart. Is one that kind of did it right for the most part.
Yeah,
I'm debating watching the rest of it with headphones, so I'm not taking away from my experience by having to turn down the volume, but also experiencing it for what it is.
Yeah, you might have to.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, no, I'm so glad you guys are going through the Conjuring series. That's one of my favorite horror series. And, I will say some of the series spin-offs, The Curse of La Llorona, and the first Annabelle, and then the first Nun. I would say those definitely could have been better. I don't want to rag on them, because people put their heart and souls probably into it. I would hope,
Yeah.
and just yeah, comparing it to The Conjurings and even The Conjuring 3, that one was like a little disappointing. I thought
Yeah.
they could have done more. Like, I've seen what you can do, so like that's the reference I have. And I would say The Conjuring 2 would probably be my favorite out of the whole Conjuring universe. And then Annabelle Creation is super good, actually, as a sequel in the Annabelle.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I really enjoyed it.
big step above the first Annabelle.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen the first Annabelle, so like,
Okay.
I'm like I said, I'm watching it in chronological order, so
Right.
I have to watch Annabelle next.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's like, I don't like, honestly, I'm wondering if it's the weird thing to do to just kind of watch in chronological order, because it's like, it kind of sucks to have to watch a series in such a weird release time thing, because there's so
Right.
many
Yeah.
prequels and sequels and all that stuff.
You get
Right.
jumps
It's
in
like,
quality, especially how old
yeah,
the series
jumps
is.
in quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
It's
I
like
would say
watching
that.
Marvel in chronological, and you get from Avengers straight to Captain Marvel. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
is this?
Good comparison,
Or,
Andy. No, for sure. No, I hope you guys get all the way through it.
Yeah.
And actually, it was funny that we brought up "Don't Worry, Darling." I would say that would fit into the theme of Coraline, kind of stepping into a different world.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like a better one.
It's kind of like a
Yeah.
reversed Coraline, I would say.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at least in the men's view, the
Yeah,
world
exactly.
of "Don't Worry, Darling" is better.
Right?
Not in the women's. Oh man,
Oh man, that's absolutely terrible.
it angered me so much. It did.
Yeah. It's like, you really have to it's the low point of humanity at that point.
Yeah, the
So, like-
masculine stuff, right?
What about you, Hunter?
Yeah.
Any big releases lately that you've been seeing, or any past movies that you finally watched?
So yeah, I just went to The Nun 2, like I said, in theaters. That was the last movie I've been to in theaters. And then I'm trying to start my wife on Sex Education, the Netflix series. Yes.
I started
Season
watching
4
that
just
too.
came out.
Yeah, right. That's why I'm trying to get her on it. And I at work, I'm training for a new job right now, so I definitely needed something to fill my mind during lunch, and movies and series
Yeah.
are my comfort. So I wanted to throw on the new Sex Education season, and I watched one episode in, and loving it so far. Good thing. Thank God Dan Levy's in it. Dan Levy is amazing. Oh man, as a professor, like I told my wife too, she got me into Schitt's Creek, and I just finished watching that all the way through just recently, and thankfully she did, because Dan Levy is such a treasure. I love that guy.
Very happy with Asa Butterfield in that. Been seeing him in more lately. I think he's also one of those up and coming, I guess, consider him a Zoomer. I think he's a little older than us, but
Right.
actors in Florence Pugh's age group that's really starting to shine.
Oh, exactly. And I was super happy to see some of the Sex Education actors and actresses in Barbie, the Barbie movie. I'm sure Greta Gerwig was a huge fan of Sex Education. I can't explain how else she would want all those people, And Nell was watching it before she ever really knew about Sex Education, my wife. And I'm like, that person's in Sex Education. That person's in Sex Education. We got to watch.
Huh. Yeah, I still haven't seen Barbie yet, so I got to get on that one.
Oh, man. You guys have seen Oppenheimer, though, right?
I have.
Okay.
I have not.
I'm a huge fan
Yeah.
of it.
Oh, man.
I guess I'm waiting for it to come out on streaming now, because I missed the opportunity to go watch it. I've heard so much about it. I'm like, I gotta go, and then never ended up doing it.
Same for me for Barbie. I only got the other half.
Okay. I mean, yeah, both of them will be on some sort of streamer for free. But like, yeah, my wife and I did do the double feature, not in the same day. We did Friday Oppenheimer and then Saturday Barbie, kind of
That's
to
got to
end it
be
on a happier note.
quite the paradigm shift.
Yes. Yeah. No, and both were amazing in their own right. I gotta say, honestly.
I came out of the end of Oppenheimer like feeling hopeless almost.
Oh no, yeah, it destroys your soul. Like you have
Yeah.
not a lot of hope for the world after that one,
You're
you
like,
know?
oh, that's sad. It's only like just I think 2 years ago or something where they finally like reverted his status to what it was before. Like they gave him his clearance back, though he's long dead now. So it's more of a good faith gesture than anything. But
That's
Yeah,
messed up.
a post posthumous thing. Is that how you say it?
yeah,
Yeah, like oh man, yeah, a little too late there, guys. It just yeah, it sucks. Yeah, and I do feel like theaters and movies should do more of those like double features. Whoever's on the marketing team for both,
I
amazing.
guarantee we're going to see some. But the Barbieheimer thing was just one of those accidents that like just did so well, like Minions or Morbius. Like just sometimes memes are they're starting to realize are really motivating factors for movie populace.
Right. No, for sure. And I think it just went to show, like with this double feature, that like it's supposed to be quality over quantity. Don't be pumping these things out, and
hmm
lackluster things. So like, yeah, like I think people are craving those events, like I think we should have them every once in a while, not all the time, like these Marvel movies and
Yeah,
Gives you something to look forward to.
exactly
Gets you excited about movies again.
right, and getting people to the theater. Why not?
I could
Yeah,
say
exactly.
just personally, and it could just be the environment I'm in down here. But I've been so impassioned with movies as of this last year compared to previous years. I got to expose myself to some other different types of theaters that we don't have back in the Midwest, and
Yeah,
tried draft houses down here, like Alamo Draft House.
I'm so jealous of you right now, Andy.
They're
Just you
a
mentioning that, you
step above
son of
any
a
other
bitch.
movie experience I've had. Like it's just something I've never thought about that you could improve the movie experience rather than just
hmm
showing the movie. Like putting related clips, interviews, things like that instead of just your normal directorial movie previews
Hmm.
before a show, like changes the experience so much.
I believe it.
Yeah, I've been so happy with movies since I've been down here, and it's been a big part to the theater experiences and getting to see some of that stuff. Like Oppenheimer, they had old '50s commercials
Oh,
before it,
That's
and
so
it's
cool.
that's
just
amazing.
absolutely meant for the experience.
I'm really happy to hear you say that, honestly. Like anybody that gets more into movies and appreciates them more on a deeper level, like, oh man, even if I don't contribute to that, I'm just happy to see it because, yeah, movies are such a big part of my world and life,
Yep.
And like with how long it takes for them to do, or like in consumption of time and money that goes into these movies, you'd think they put more into like the overall peripherals of like you said, the whole 50s commercials before Oppenheimer. Like,
Yep.
you think they do that more often instead of like you know, pump like what Hunter said, pumping out a movie every year or every 2 years or something just to make a sequel,
Yeah.
or a remake of some sort.
The corporate things, right?
It's kind of
Yeah.
insane that we haven't seen as many like production companies starting their own theaters. Like they could, of course, show their competitors as well as their own movies, but they could do so much to make their own movies stand out that I feel like they're just not capitalizing on.
Like A24, I want to say, right?
Oh,
Yeah. Oh man, they could buy up so many theaters and make them really, really great.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
especially
imagine
promoting like indie and yeah, indie movies,
Yeah. Imagine the experience you could have if you capitalized a movie theater based around like the genre that A24 covers, like that thriller, suspense, psychological stuff.
Hmm.
You could do a lot of good things with theaters that sadly we just haven't been seeing.
Yeah.
But
Oh, for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, especially with the technology we have now. Like we were just talking about the Philips Hue lights.
Yeah.
Like, why don't they put something like that in theaters? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's their whole profit base is making the experience greater. Like, why can't it just be enhanced? I mean, I guess there is something to take from like being in a theater and it's all dark and all you could see is the movie and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just like with the surround sound that goes into it and all that stuff, you could probably add more to the experience than just that.
Definitely. I think the Philips Hue, more than anything, like especially the sync option, I think
Yep.
it expands the screen more. It's not really distracting. If you don't have the brightness all the way up at 100%, it's not too distracting. You can play around with it for personal preference, and that's the best thing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And also, one thing I will leave off on, like while we're talking about like watching new stuff, and how Andy was saying in Texas, you got really cool features to these movie going experiences other than what we have, like besides what we have up in the Midwest here. My wife and I, about like a year ago, we went to the Fargo Theater, and Mike Flanagan. Do you guys know him at all?
yeah, yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and his wife, Kate Siegel, the actress that is in a lot of his projects, they came to the Fargo Film Festival to speak and answer questions. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's
my wife
awesome.
and I were sitting in the audience, and oh man, it was just so amazing to hear both of those people like talk about film in general and their love for it, and just being willing to come up to a place like this where there's not much influence in film. Guys, it's really tough to talk to people about movies around here. I'm not faulting
Tell me about
I'm
it,
not
dude.
faulting anybody at all. Like it's just, like that's what I'm trying to do with my movie Mondays on social media here, is just expose people to more of it and show them how movies can help them in their lives. And Mike Flanagan will have the Fall of the House of Usher coming here to Netflix October 12th, and I am so stoked. That's what I was trying to get to. But
Awesome.
Ooh.
oh man, yeah, I'm trying to read the
Check
short
it.
story right now before I
Check
watch it.
that out. Yeah, I've always really wanted to get into his haunting series. Like my biggest one by him is Doctor Sleep.
Oh,
It's like top 5 horror movies for me.
I want to watch that really bad. I
It's
figured I should
very
watch
good.
The Shining before checking it out.
For those more sensitive to like trauma stuff like that, there is a scene in there that's a little gruesome.
Mm.
I think near the first hour ish. It's a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Oh no, I'm so stoked, and I love Rebecca Ferguson. I know she's in there, and Ewan McGregor. But yeah, why I wanted to talk about the Fall of House of Usher, just it's, spooky season spirit. I think it's going to be super good. Early reviews are already coming out that seem super promising. And Mike Flanagan, like, since we're talking about a creepy movie that is really into story, Coraline, like the story was just amazing, and it was more than just little jump scares here and there, like a lot of horror movies are. Like Mike Flanagan focuses on story. That's what I really appreciate about it. Like it's emotional, even though you can be scared. Like I want
Mm-hmm.
to feel that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fear is an emotion, and if I think most like I'm gonna bring up. Well, Conjuring is good. I
Yes.
want to say but like a lot of those horror movies, they really want to capitalize on like the jump scares, and you can guess the formula before it even happens. You think it's going to happen, and then it doesn't happen, and then it happens. You know what I mean? It seems like they do it every time, but like I like the slow burn of like the fear more than just the shocky pop-ups.
Definitely. And like, when a character dies in a horror movie, like, most of the time you want to be emotionally invested so you actually feel something if one of those characters goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what Mike Flanagan does. I get what you're saying, Eric, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Yeah, so if you guys want to reach out to us and send us some suggestions, we are on Instagram at Hazardous Opinions Pod, and we also have a Gmail, hazardousopinionspod@gmail.com. And then we also have a Discord that we like to chat with people at. You can have some more live conversations with us if you'd like. The invite link is in the description to join that. But yeah, you guys have anything else about Coraline or vast movie experiences of the 21st century?
Oh man.
No, I mean it's been a great year for movies, and I'm glad we covered this. This I suppose it could be a classic at this point. I don't know what you consider. I think after 10 years, it's a classic, right?
It's 15 now, 14 years.
15 years, yeah. We're revisiting this classic before we get into more spooky movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll take that, Eric. Like it's already been a classic for me for years. Like I know people will give me a little bit of shit for watching it so many times, but there's a reason for it. It does hold
Absolutely.
a special place in my heart, and yeah, quite a few films do. And yeah, like you said, Eric, it's been a good movie year, and I hope things keep looking up, especially after this, since the writer's strike is done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those guys deserve it for sure, and
Absolutely.
yeah, hopefully, like
if anything, I mean, for it being their brainchild, I mean, they should be paid more than, well, I don't want to say actors because they do have to do a lot of work. I mean,
yes,
for their talent and stuff, but
agreed.
yeah, they do deserve to be paid a lot more.
Yeah, better working conditions and actually have like health insurance and things like that, because I know
Yeah.
I know quite a majority of that population in the film world, like they don't get what these higher ups get for benefits. They don't even reach it. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Plus, if they're paid more, they're more motivated to do it. So I'm assuming, with that being done, things are looking up.
Yeah. So for our next episode coming up, we're covering another one with one of my favorite actors, Keith David. We're doing The Thing, the original 1982, of course, the best one out there.
The best one. Yeah, I agree. I've seen both, and yeah, no, that's good one, guys.
Prime movie for Spooky Month, and I'm excited to cover probably my favorite horror movie of all time. So,
exactly. I don't blame you for having that as your favorite.
Well, we will see you guys next time.
See you next time. Thanks for joining us, Hunter.
Bye, guys. Really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Felice